Well, a turning point is defined as a pivotal circumstance in life, and we have all faced these things, and we will all continue to face these things that happen that go in a way that you didn't expect for them to happen. When they do, they can be positive things or negative things. These turning points can be, right? When I looked up the definition, it was like this example was given, and it said that was a turning point in Nancy's career. And I just thought, like, what did Nancy do? That was a turning point in her career. Did she do something amazing? Did she go above and beyond and she got a raise or a promotion? Now she's CEO, she runs the place. Go Nancy, right? Or did she do something terrible, maybe even a little bit scandalous, and she got, like, maybe even fired? That would be a turning point in Nancy's career also, wouldn't it be? She stole money! Don't do it, Nancy! For us, maybe turning points that we've experienced have been really positive things, but maybe they've also been really negative things. Like the first day of middle school, or the first day of high school. Like, for you, that could have gone really well. You walked in and you were like, oh, shoot, okay. Or you walked in and you're like, oh, shoot, no way. I don't like this. For some of us, maybe it was this turning point where you got your heart broken for the first time. You got broke up with, and it wasn't even your fault. It was them. Maybe it was failing an exam. Maybe it was moving across the country or just to another place and you didn't want to. Maybe it was a parent's divorce or getting a phone, right? Maybe, our youth group, I feel like, is going through a turning point right now. Like, look around. We're in the middle of a pivotal circumstance, right? Everything's new, things are different, things are changing. And when things change, especially when they go like bad, which I hope this isn't going bad. Like, I love being here, I love y'all, and I'm pumped. I'm hopeful and thankful. But when things go bad, when there's this pivotal circumstance, this turning point in our life that's not what we like, not what we want, not what we expected, we can tend to wonder, where is God in this? And Rin, you're sitting here saying that my faith can actually grow through this? Like, no way. There's nothing good about this. I don't like this. It shouldn't be this way. This is bad and nothing good can come from it. I'm angry, I'm confused, I'm sad, and I'm feeling hurt. The best place to look in places like this when we're feeling that is Scripture, and there's this one place in the Gospel of John that we're going to be in this morning. And we're just going to spend the rest of our time going through essentially all of chapter 11. So if you have a Bible or the YouVersion app, go ahead and get in it now. You can kind of follow along. Of course, we're going to put it on the screen and stuff. But in John chapter 11, starting in verse 1, there was this man, and his name was Lazarus. I'm going to refer to him as Lazzy for the rest of the morning probably. And he was sick. He was from Bethany, this village where Mary and her sister Martha lived. So you have Mary, Martha, and Lazzy, and they're all friends. And Lazzy was sick, and sick to the point, like, they didn't have modern medicine, advanced technology. Like, when you were sick, like when he had COVID probably at the time, like, it's Lazarus' fault. But anyway, like, you were gonna die. Like, that was just it. Whenever you were sick, it didn't look good. In verse 3, the sisters, they sent word to Jesus because they were friends with him, and they said, Lord, the one you love is sick. And if you spent any time in church, or you are familiar with this relationship God has toward us, you know that you are loved, that we are loved. And Lazarus is no exception to that. Jesus loved Lazarus just like he loves all of us. And so you're going to sit here and when we read what happens next, wonder why would Jesus allow something like what's about to happen to Lazarus to happen to someone that he loves? Why would he let him go through this? Well, what happens? He's sick, and like I said, they wanted Jesus to come now, but he didn't. He waited 3 days. Why? Because he was allowing time for Lazarus to die. Lazarus, by the time Jesus arrived to see Mary and Martha, was gone. So skipping down to verse 21, Lord, Martha says to Jesus, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And I wonder how many of us feel this. Like, God, if you really loved me, if you really cared, like I wouldn't be going through this. This wouldn't be happening right now. The person wouldn't have died. My parents would have gotten divorced. We wouldn't have had to move. I wouldn't be struggling with this. I wouldn't have this crisis in life or in my brain. Like, you say you love me, but I just don't see it. I don't feel that right now. But she says, I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. It's like, Jesus, I know you can, but why didn't you? I know you want good things for me, but I don't see that. I don't feel that. She's angry. She's confused. She's wondering why this is happening. And I wonder how many of us have been there. How many of us might be there right now? There's a major key in this, though, that Martha, hear this, she maintained trust in her trials. And for a lot of us, when we hit trials, this is the part of having a counterfeit faith, or a faith that's just a copy. When you hold it up to the light, like a $100 bill, and you see that it's not real, it's not really worth anything. And when your faith gets held up to the light, is it real? Because if so, you're going to maintain that trust. But if it's not, it's going to crumble and be thrown away because it's not really real at the end of the day. You have to maintain that trust in trial. Jesus said to her in verse 23, your brother is going to rise again. And she's like, I know he's going to rise again at the resurrection on the last day, whenever all things are made new, and it's like new heaven, new earth, blah, blah, blah. And Jesus is like, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. And he's like, do you believe this? Martha goes, yes, Lord, I believe that you're the Messiah, the Son of God, who's come into the world. She held on to that belief. She held on. Jesus didn't show up in time to save her brother, but she still trusted him anyway. Do you? When you're in it, do you still trust him anyway? Even when you can't see it? John tells us that Jesus wept. It's the shortest verse in the Bible. Fun trivia. And then the Jews said, this is everyone around who was watching, see how he loved him. See how Jesus loved Lazarus. Jesus gets our pain. He empathizes with us. He's with us in the confusion. He is not distant. He is close. He is near. And then Jesus does something crazy. He does something crazy. Verse 41, Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. It's the beauty about God. He always hears our prayers. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they might believe that you sent me. He's like, because definitely a crowd had accumulated at this point, wondering why the Son of God, the Savior of the world, this guy who was working miracles, claiming to be this, just had someone die on his watch. So everyone's watching like, you said you're this. What gives? This makes no sense. Everyone's watching. When he said this, Jesus is at the face of this tomb where Lazarus was laid, and he said it in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out! And the dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped in strips of linen and cloth around his face. And Jesus said to them, take off the grave clothes and let him go. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. He redeemed a broken situation. And look how it ends. Therefore, verse 45, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. Again, it's bigger than the moment. There is more going on. For us, sometimes we can only see our story and we neglect to recognize the reality that there are stories happening all around us, that people are watching us, our faith, how we respond to situations. I'm not saying they're not terrible. I'm not saying they're not hard. They are. But your response to it, people are watching. God is working. People are watching and God is working. Even when you don't see it, He's working. Even when you don't feel it, he's moving. He cares, and he's close. So we can go through the toughest pain possible. And some of y'all have been through things that are insanely difficult. I don't wish on anyone. I just know. Some of us might be dealing with things right now. And it's possible, I just want you to hear me say this, to come out trusting God more. Even if things don't go how you think they should. How? There's 2 questions, and we're going to break out, okay? Number 1, we ask this. You can write these down. These are just good faith exercises to have. Number 1, where is God in this? Just ask God to show himself to you. Like, where are you in this? What are you doing in this? Why would you let this happen? It's okay to be angry and mad and frustrated and confused. Remember, Martha said, she's like, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. You can express that to God. He can handle it. And then number 2, ask yourself, how can this tough situation help grow my faith? Try to look beyond it and think, I don't like this. But at the end of the day, if I see God in this, how can this actually end up growing my faith? This doesn't have to break me. This doesn't have to break me, just like the cross didn't permanently break Jesus.